Does Yu-Gi-Oh! In the year 2022 actually suck? I'll be like the 30% of you guys have not smashed the crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so we can get to 103,000. So this has been popping up on my news feed for a little while on Facebook, and I figured we'd talk about this. Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2022 is annoying. Everything is negation or cheap, easy removal. Win conditions or true strats don't even matter anymore. Just negate the opponent until they can't do anything and just attack directly a bunch of times. Okay. And no, filling your entire deck with cards that negate 99% of other cards isn't skill. That's simply not being aware of what kind of person you have become. That's a hot take. It's too many narcissists that want to crush or destroy their opponents with a bunch of spammy crap and not enough real duelists that actually want to duel a real duel. Y'all take I just want to win to levels that defeat the purpose. Okay, first of all, this is very Yu-Gi-Oh! Boomer here, ladies and gentlemen. What is the definition of a true duelist? Because if you're playing competitively, you want to win. Let's be honest here. If this is somebody who's a very casual player looking from the outside in, then I guess you could have the definition of a real duel. Go back to your Battle City starter decks from like original Yu-Gi-Oh! I guess. Current era Yu-Gi-Oh! Is very much about being a fast-paced game. I'm sorry to tell you that. If you just woke up one day and you played Master Duel and you just got Drytron punched in the nuts, you're not going to have a pleasant experience, alright? Like, there's, on the top end of the competitive spectrum in this game, there will always be a clear, definitive deck. That's just how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, alright? Like, no archetype is made equal, and we've talked about this in previous videos when you've looked at things and how the game is structured. It's just overall power creep, alright? Konami wants to sell more product, so other archetypes are going to be good. You're also going to have fan-favorite archetypes out here, which, might not necessarily be good, but the player base will eat the crap out of them. Toons is a fantastic example of that, ladies and gentlemen, where, a deck's not good, but there's so many players that are just in love with the archetype. Even, like, to a lesser extent, heroes. You've seen how many players out here spend all of this money on heroes. So I just wanted to lay the groundwork for that statement there and just say, yes, not every deck is created equally in that regard. So, in the year 2022, everything is negation or cheap, easy removal. Well, I mean, Raigeki is cheap. Well, I don't know why you're complaining about cheap, easy removal, because having 3 Kaiju Slumber, 3 Dark Hole, 3 Lightning Storm, 3 Raigeki available in the same format, doesn't seem like a terrible thing for a budget player. I don't know why you'd be upset about that. I guess you could be upset about your opponent being able to cheap, easy negate your cards, and in that case, yeah, I could see it, but in terms of a trade-off with easier removal than ever before in the game, that's fine. Win conditions or true stats don't even matter anymore. That's just, win cons do matter. Very, very much so. I will tell you that setting up a board is a win con, ladies and gentlemen. That's just how it is. Just negate the opponent until they literally can't do anything and just attack directly a bunch of times. Yeah, that's just what, you're not wrong in that regard. Negating the opponent just to win the game is what Yu-Gi-Oh! Effectively is. It's what being Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been for how long at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen? Just being able to negate your opponent out or do things like that. Yeah, that's the difference between power scaling. Once again, we go back to that statement that we previously said here, where, setting up a board, setting up these key negations to win the game is what matter right now. And no, filling your entire deck with cards that negate 90% of other cards isn't skill. I strongly disagree with that, actually. Having cards available in your arsenal to counterpick other strategies and actually analyzing a metagame in order to pick the right cards for the right time is absolutely skill. It's in the deck building department. I'm actually sorry to refute that entire point. Cards that counter cards will always be an important thing. I mean, you always will have the people that will just straight copy a list, all right? And this is where things get very good. And then when you have another player that can copy and then adapt that list and then further decide, well, this is what the metagame is going to be, and then you start building around that, and you start going, well, this is a good counter pick for in case I run into this. If you can build options around that tree to kind of set up and be good to go, then absolutely you've fixed and set up exactly what you needed to see. And I would consider that very good. That's simply not being aware of what kind of person you've become. That's this entire line about filling for the 99% of other cards is just pure salt. I can tell you that. It's too many narcissists that just want to crush or destroy their opponents with a bunch of spammy crap and not enough real duels who actually want to duel a real duel. Well, first of all, I can tell you in the competitive scene there have been really good games. There's some games that are just absolute blowouts, but there's some games you'll get into a good grind game every blue moon, and you'll actually get the chance to what we like to call play Yu-Gi-Oh! Alright? Now, I don't know where you get this thing of where I want to crush or destroy my opponents. I'm not going to lie to you. It is fun as crap playing Mysterious Rune and milling out really bad players and watching them get salty at you and calling you a bunch of names. Alright, now that's a lot of fun. Alright? Maybe that just makes me crazy or something like that. But to say that players are spending all of this money just to crush the noob locals, I don't believe that to be the case really at all. The objective is still to win the game, ladies and gentlemen. And you can tell here on this hot dumpster fire take that there's a lot of built-up salt in the veins here about that. Now, like I said, you will get there. Like I said, there'll be games that are bad. There'll be games that you're just like, whew, you take a seat back. You're like, oh wow, I just played that game. You know, there are a lot of very rewarding things, and they do come up. If you've played competitively, you'll know what those games are. There'll be other games where you just get blown out. That's just how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen. And unfortunately, there's nothing that you can really do about those games. Alright? I wish I could be more optimistic and be like, oh yeah, by the way, you know, true Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like back to starter deck days, but that's not the case. Alright? The game has evolved, the times have changed. So, besides this entire hot take being enough salt to fill an entire room, some points are not entirely wrong. Yu-Gi-Oh! As a whole is pretty much a negation game at this point in time. We've never had as much cheap removal as we have now. I think that's a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to play some of these weirder strategies, you can get away with them. And that's not a bad thing. I would honestly say, once again, every format we go through, Tier 2 gets bigger and bigger. Alright, you get a lot more strategies that get all of these freer chicken tendies here to just do what they want to do with. And I think that's an amazing thing. Alright? Your trade-off is more negation enters into the fray, but more and more removal enters in as well. So, the other thing I hate to say with this is, what's the old saying? If you can't adapt, then quit. And I hate to say that here because it is a very true example. But at the end of the day here, if you don't like modern era Yu-Gi-Oh!, you've got a couple options. They've released older formats that you can go play with your friends now. Alright, locals are supporting GOAT formats. You can go hang out with all the other Yu-Gi boomers that are like, I hate modern era Yu-Gi-Oh! Or you can just take a step back from the game. Progress on the speed of Yu-Gi-Oh! Will continue on. I can tell you that the format's not going to get any better at this point in time. And a lot of you guys that watch these videos, you know, I have a lot of you guys that watch that haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh! In a good couple years at this point in time. Seeing that a lot of players just kind of check in and see what's going on here, and have seen like the rapid evolution of the game at this point in time. It's not a bad thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's just, it can be very overwhelming for a lot of players, and it can put a lot of players off, and that's not necessarily a bad thing at the end of the day. I get it. But to say that Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are just being narcissists, just to crush their opponents, just to spend countless money. Players spend money because they want to win the game. Players win the game, or spend money because they want to play the best deck. That's just how it works, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry to tell you that, you know. Yu-Gi-Oh! Can be very pay to win. There are other times where, you know, it won't be pay to win. But that's just how the game has been for years, and it's going to continue to be at this point in time. Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game where Konami wants to make money, ladies and gentlemen. Who would have guessed at the end of the day? So guys, what do you think? Please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I always love reading my comment section. I can't wait to read some of the takes from this one. And I will see your beautiful faces back here later on today with some more cool ass content. You guys stay safe out there, alright? Peace out, guys. Patrons! Thank you!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.